still hang around, neither lost nor found. Hear the lonely sound
we doing boogie shoes? Actually, probably were. One, two, 3. Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let go, girl. We got a lot. Got a lot of love between us. Hang on, hang on, hang on to what we got. You say you're gonna go and call it quits. Gonna chug it all and break my love to bits. Break it up.
I wish you never said.
Break it up.
No, we'll both regret it.
That little chip of diamond on your head means a fortune, baby, but you know it stands for your love.
I love to try and
For
find
your
it.
love.
We just can't leave behind us, baby.
For your love. Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let go, girl. We got a lot. Got a lot of love between us. Hang on, hang on, hang on to what we got.
Good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Pardon the way that I say, there's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Quite alright, I need you, baby, to warm a lonely night.
I feel like it should be a bass
Pick up the
solo.
rest.
Bottom,
Yeah, there you go.
up on the bottom.
No clips on your music. No phones either. Phones count.
Bottom.
How about no music? Yeah. Come on. No music, Adam.
Bring the beat in.
I want to actually the music. I don't know.
Honey, honey, I can see the stars all the way from here. Can't you see the glow on the window pane? I can feel the sun whenever you're near.
and the fresh out skipping hey, I'm too hot. Police and the fireman too hot. This dragon wanna retire, man, I'm too hot. Can't say my name, you know who I am, too hot. Yeah, bad, bad, bad money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. 'Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to you. 'Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 ah! Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 ah!
Welcome to Rowan University's 2017 commencement ceremonies. The processional is ready to begin. Please silence all cell phones and please remain seated during the processional so everyone can see. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. And now, Dr. Annette Raboli, Interim Dean of Cooper Medical School of Rowan University.
Good evening and welcome to the commencement ceremony for Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guests. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. University President Dr. Ali Hushmand, Rowan University Board of Trustees Mr. Chad Bruner, Dr. Barbara Chamberlain, Mr. Frank Giordano, Mr. Martin McKernan, Mr. Robert Posnick. Medical School Board, Dr. Mark Allen, Dr. Tabitha Dobbins, Dr. Demon Miller, Dr. William Sherrar, Dr. Stephen Ross. Distinguished guests, our keynote speaker, Dr. Robert Laskowski, Senator Donald Norcross, Camden Mayor Dana Red, Dr. Adrian Kirby, President and CEO of Cooper University Healthcare, Mr. Louis Bezich, Rowan University, Rutgers Camden Board of Governors, Mr. Jack Tarditi, Foundation Board, Dr. Edward Viner, Grand Marshal, Dr. Charlene Williams, College Gonfalonier, members of the Cabinet, deans, college advisory boards, academic department chairs, faculty, and senior members of the administration and faculty guest hooders. Last but not least, there are two very important constituencies that must be recognized as well. Students, please rise and face the people most important in your life: parents, partners, brothers, sisters, and loved ones who have provided support and resources to help bring us to this day. Secondly, please recognize our Rowan and CMSRU families, faculty, staff, and administrators who share in your pride and success today. Students, please be seated.
Good evening. My name is Chad Bruner, and I'm the Vice Chairman of the Rowan University Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome graduates of the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University, your families, and friends to Rowan University on behalf of faculty, staff, and administrators. I am fortunate to share a few words with exceptional graduates from one of our excellent medical programs. I am humbled by your passion to choose such an honorable career path. I admire your dedication and appreciate the hard work that brought you here today. Throughout your career, you will experience firsthand a world and a society that inevitably changes every day. These changes may be very challenging. These changes could reflect new research that shifts the landscape of medicine or new technological advances that you may not be comfortable with. I am positive, however, that you will adapt just like you have thus far in your academic pursuits. But realize this, it won't be easy. It shouldn't be easy. It's not meant to be easy. I urge you to embrace change, not resist it. Accept the discomfort of changes ahead, as discomfort indicates that change is about to happen. Push through that discomfort. If it doesn't challenge you, it will not change you. Remember, if you don't like change, I promise you that you will like irrelevance even less. So I offer you this advice as you move along the career ladder. First, take the opportunity to build skills. Abilities, knowledge, intelligence, and talent can only take you so far. You should aspire to continue building skill sets every day. You want to build these skill sets every day to consistently get better. Don't become complacent. That is the enemy of exceptional. I encourage you to grow beyond your talent. Second, take the opportunity to build credibility and trust through character, competence, and connection. Character is your ethical trust. You build it by consistently doing what you say you will do. Competence is your technical trust. You build it through doing your job over and over at an exceptional level. Connection is your personal trust. You build it through repeatedly caring, listening, and fully engaging with people. By developing credibility and trust, you will create a very strong bond that will assist you on your professional and personal journeys. Third, in life, it is inevitable that you'll be presented with some type of challenging event, and every event will produce a certain outcome. We do not directly control the events in life, and we do not directly control the outcomes, but we always have control over how we choose to respond, and how we respond means everything. Every day, you will make decisions that require a certain response. These are actions you will take, or not, towards pursuit of your goals, whether to give up or persevere through obstacles you experience, or how you choose to interact with people at work or with family at home. And how you respond makes all the difference in the world. Finally, and most importantly, enjoy each moment along your professional and personal pathway. I look out and see opportunity for you. I look out and see hope for you. I look out and see promise in you. I look out and see a bright future for all of you. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Good evening, everyone. I am Ali Hushman, president of Rowan University, and let me tell you, I'm so overwhelmingly excited to have the second class of Cooper Medical School of Rowan University celebrating their commencement here on the main campus. And I especially want to welcome the loved ones, parents, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, everybody. I'm delighted that you're here, and let's have a wonderful celebration. We'll get you out of here so that you can go and have your dinner and some other stuff. I can't predict who among you will bring a struggling baby into the world and send him home with a relieved parent a month later. I can't predict who among you will repair the heart of a young mother who gets to live to see her grandchildren graduate high school. I can't predict which of you will develop the treatment plan that gives a few more quality years to a patient with an end-stage illness. What I can predict is that every one of you about to graduate from Cooper Medical School of Rowan University will make a difference in many, many lives. That is what physicians do. and today you are physicians. I know this has not been easy. This has not been an easy road. It took a great deal to reach this. It took a great deal to reach this day. The intellectual gifts you were given, the support of family, friends, and educators from your earliest day on, your own passion, drive, commitment, and willingness to sacrifice. You have studied when others have socialized. You have spent summers with books, mostly computers these days, in front of you instead of the beach. You have worked hard and given much. All of that has served you well. So too has Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. During your 4 years here, you have studied and worked with exceptional physicians and educators. You have developed the clinical skills needed to become first-class caregivers. You also have joined in our school's commitment to the city of Camden, volunteering in our clinic and with youth and others. You have learned how to give back outside of the office. You have invested in a young medical school, which in turn has invested in you. And may I add, you have made us all very, very proud. Today, of course, is a major milestone as you pursue your career in medicine, as you become pediatricians and anesthesiologists and general practitioners and emergency room physicians, as you pursue research and lead practice and hospitals, as you make a difference in lives every day. Cooper Medical School of Rowan University class of 2017, congratulations. As you make your way through your residencies, your career and your lives, stay in touch, visit, give back, help the medical school who follow in your, help the medical students who follow in your footsteps. Remember that you have learned and share it with others. Honor your oath, change lives, and I trust you will continue to make us very, very proud. And given that as a foreign person who has become a naturalized citizen in this country, I hope you also recognize how fortunate you are that you were born in this great country. Now, with all the knowledge that you have, with the degrees that you have under your belt, I hope you go there and make this country great again. Thank you.
Thank you, President Houshmand. We are pleased that Congressman Donald Norcross can be with us today. As our congressman, he has been a strong advocate for the medical school and for Rowan University in general. His support has enabled Rowan researchers to compete for major federal grants. And while in the state legislature, he led the fight to designate Rowan as a research institution and integrate the School of Osteopathic Medicine into the university, making Rowan only the second higher education institution in the country to offer both the MD and DO degrees. His Grow New Jersey tax legislation has provided major incentives to position CMSRU to lead the EDS and MEDS effort in Camden. We thank the congressman and welcome him to offer remarks.
Thank you, Dean. Mr. President, I'd like to ring you that. To those who are on the stage with me, those in the audience, the families, the extended families, and to one very special person who without her vision, her actions, and her ability to bring people together, none of us would be here today, and that is my mayor, Mayor Redd. Congratulations. It's a remarkable achievement for you, your family, our community, and quite frankly, our country. The skills that have been taught to you over these 4 years have been remarkable. Your work, outstanding and long hours. South Jersey has been your home, but more importantly, your home has been Camden for the last 4 years. a remarkable place that has gone through tremendous, tremendous change in just those 4 years. And for many of you, we hope you'll continue to call it your home. But I want to go back in time a little bit to you, your careers, elementary school, high school, undergraduate. When that moment of your life you decided, I want to go to medical school. Then the MCATs, just a little while ago. Remember those, the applications, and that special day when you got the letter in the mail. Your parents, your guardians were there with you. It was a remarkable time when you got your white coat. The stresses of when class begins. The USMLEs, part 1, part 2, and the third one to come. Choosing the specialty. Those stressful times that you lived with, and then match day. Now, we're all together here on graduation day. All that work that you perform, living it with your families. It's no secret that we've had a bit of a debate about the way Americans will be treated when it comes to health coverage. It is a very quick and very complicated moving subject that will continue. But one thing is certain, and all sides agree on, is that we have the best there is in the world. And that's to people like yourself and the ones who are seated here with me. So we wish you congratulations and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Norcross. Now for our commencement speaker. Dr. Robert Laskowski is an excellent example of what physicians can contribute and achieve, of how our Cooper Medical School of Rowan University graduates can make a difference. He has practiced medicine and been a leader in healthcare, retiring in 2014 as president and CEO of Christiana Care Health System in Wilmington, Delaware, one of the nation's largest healthcare systems. While there, he founded the Christiana Care Value Institute, an applied research group comprising more than 40 associates in the disciplines of quality, safety, operational excellence, outcomes research, health services research, and healthcare delivery science. He is principal of Laskowski Advisors, a consultancy devoted to assisting healthcare organizations and professionals innovate through understanding value. He also serves on the board of directors of the Association of American Medical Colleges, for which he is past chairman. He holds academic appointments at Thomas Jefferson University and University of Delaware, and is a member of the Health Council of Dukes County, Massachusetts, and the Healthy Aging Task Force. A well-known educator, consultant, and writer, Dr. Laskowski trained as a health services researcher, seeking to view the healthcare system from the perspective of the people it serves, focused on patients and practitioners. A board-certified internist and geriatrician, Dr. Laskowski is a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, and he holds an MBA from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and is a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Clinical Scholar. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Robert Laskowski.
Well, thanks very much for that very kind introduction. And thanks as well to President Hausmann and to Dean Riboli for this wonderful opportunity to be with you in today's celebration. And it is quite a celebration. The band, A+, rocks. I find medical school commencements to be very moving for me. Without fail, they take me back to May 1978 and my own graduation. That day remains among the most memorable of my life, preceded only by my wedding day and the birthdays of my children. And I know I'm not alone,
in the profound feelings I have about being a physician. There's something intrinsic to medicine, something larger than a sense of personal accomplishment, as impressive as that may be, that makes becoming officially a physician feel so special. There's a sacredness that I think has its roots in ancient traditions of the profession of healer that makes the experience so profound. When I was first called doctor, I felt my life change. I had been accepted into a new life. It was actually much more than a profession, it was a vocation. And I know that my new colleagues in medicine who comprise the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University class of 2017 also, in your own unique ways, feel that profound change today. Cooper Medical School of Rowan University, I know, is a unique place. I've done some research about that, and I've read about you. It has its own history and an admirable commitment to the local community. Its mission statement clearly grounds medicine as an expression of humanity at its best. The aim of the medical school is a humanistic one, to educate physicians to compassionately bring the benefits of science to heal and comfort and guide fellow human beings, and to help others to have the physical and mental capacity to lead lives fully of their own choosing. We physicians, we are humanists first. As humanists, science is a powerful tool we use to help others. As physicians, we know this, and we know it first from our own experiences. Our experiences are often the very reason we chose to this very difficult path to become a doctor. The reasons for our choices, highly personal, have guided us, have guided you through the long years of study and hard work. The practice of medicine is a highly personal undertaking. It's certainly personal for the people who give us the privilege to care for them, but it's also personal for us as physicians. What we do, how we do it, is deeply rooted in who we are as individuals. With these thoughts as background, I'd like to take a few minutes with you to ask you some questions that you can ask yourself. And I think you will find that asking and answering these questions of yourself will be helpful to you as a physician and as a person as your career and your life continues to evolve. The first question is, what led you to choose a life in medicine? The answer for each of us will be highly specific, highly personal, and not at all abstract. No one graduates from medical school without enormous motivation. The abstraction of simply wanting to help people, that's not enough. Generally, there's some very meaningful experience with names and people and memories that leads us to the profession. It could be one's own illness. For me, it was the sudden deaths of close relatives that left me feeling powerless as a young boy. That sense of powerlessness raised the hope of developing an ability to help and set me on my own path to medicine. Now, it's not always a direct experience that motivates our search, but it's always a very powerful one. The reason I pose this question of what led you to the profession is that in a very tangible way, your answer will tell you your true north in the profession. We have chosen to serve others for a reason. And though as physicians we may not be able to help our loved ones whose past illnesses motivated us, we can now help others in similar need, even if that similarity is only a metaphor. Now, the range of our profession is broad. It extends far beyond clinical care. So we don't need to become practicing oncologists in response to a great personal motivation to do something about cancer. Our work our work might be that of a researcher discovering new cancer cures. This type of medical vocation comes from the same motivation that drives clinicians. This motivation is highly felt and based on personally unique experience. Knowing the roots of our motivation, I believe, can help us regain our energy when it is diminished and guide us as we make choices in our lives and in our careers. Only you know the history through your own reasons for being who you are as a doctor. And only you can know your own true north. The second question I ask you to ask yourself is, how do you take care of yourself and those who love you today? And how do you plan to take care of yourself and those who love you tomorrow and the days that follow? In April of 1913, the famous teacher, Sir William Osler, addressed the Yale medical students and gave them career advice in a famous address entitled A Way of Life. And if you don't have a copy of this, it's well worth reading, and you can get it for free on the internet. I suggest it. A colleague gave me my copy when I finished my residency, and I've kept it on my desk throughout my career. There is much wisdom in Dr. Osler's words of commencements a century ago. The basic take-home message is take care of yourself. Specifically, he advises living every day on its own, kind of a different way of stating the Zen concept of living in the present. There is much more there, though, in his advice than pop philosophy. Osler recognized something very important. He recognized that to be a good physician, one needs to be a healthy physician. To be a healthy physician requires explicit focus on one's own well-being. Frankly, this is as important to us as physicians as continued attention to the technical aspects of medicine. Hard to take care of someone else if we're not taking care of ourselves. This focus, our focus on well-being needs to be broad to include one's physical, mental, and spiritual health. And this focus needs to extend to the relationships we have with others, especially with those we love and those who love us. The pressures of the practice of medicine are real, and they are great. Modern technology has not, and frankly cannot, diminish them. Only by being mindful of our health and the health of our relationships and being quite explicit in our plan to care for them can we maintain the energy and the equanimity we need to both practice good medicine and live fulfilled, balanced lives. Now, my final question has 4 subqueries. To whom, when, where, and how will you practice gratefulness? The Dalai Lama has said, when you practice gratefulness, there is a sense of respect toward others. Pope Francis, too, talks about gratefulness, and he said, gratitude is a flower that blooms in noble souls. Now, what does this have to do with medicine? Well, I think everything. We know that medicine is a noble profession. As such, I think that the practice of medicine calls us to be grateful. A life orientation founded on gratefulness changes the way we see the world and our responses to it. When we are grateful to our patients for trusting us and for giving us the privilege of caring for them, as the Dalai Lama says, we will practice our profession with respect. This respect is the source of a healthy and therapeutic patient-physician relationship. When we are grateful to our colleagues for their support and their contribution to the care of patients, we build the foundation of human relationships that is the basis for all effective teams. We benefit, our colleagues benefit, and most importantly, our patients benefit. Outside of our professional work, when we're grateful to our spouse, our friends, and our children, we nurture the human bonds that give us support, strength, and enable us to be happy as a doctor and as a person. As a doctor and a person, I have so much for which to be grateful. And being with you today, really reminds me of that. So I am profoundly grateful for this wonderful opportunity to be here and to join in your fabulous celebration. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this year Rowan University again is awarding Medals of Excellence that honor worthy individuals in one of three categories. Awards for distinguished service recognize the recipient's service to the university or their communities. Awards for research recognize recipients' impact on their fields through innovative and relevant research. Awards for alumni achievement recognize graduates' impact on their field and/or the university. Deans in each of our colleges and schools had an opportunity to present awards. I am happy to announce that Cooper Medical School of Rowan University awards the Medal of Excellence for Distinguished Service to Healthcare and Education to Dr. Robert Liskowski.
Now it's our students' turn. I will now recognize the candidates for the doctoral degree. Will the candidates for the doctoral degree, that means all of you, will you rise? Dr. Blank, will you please certify the doctoral degree candidates?
Mr. President, the candidates who have successfully met all requirements for the Doctor of Medicine degree are hereby certified by the faculty for the receipt of their degrees.
You are not yet fully approved. Wait one more minute. Vice Chairman Brunner, these candidates have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation. I present them to you as proper recipients of the Doctor of Medicine degree.
Doctoral degree candidates of the class of 2017 who have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation by the authority vested in me as Vice Chairman of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the Doctor of Medicine degree with all the rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Now you can go and visit some patients. Thank you. You may be seated.
Today, I have the distinct honor and pleasure of addressing you as my dear colleagues, doctors. I laud you for having successfully completed this first stage of your medical education. We're here to celebrate this achievement and your commencement. Sociologists tell us that important milestone events should be celebrated, and that is indeed the case. But there has been so much more to your journey to reach this point. You are surrounded by everyone who has been on the journey with you, your family, your friends, your faculty, and leadership. Please be sure to express your gratitude to those who have supported you. We acknowledge the work, dedication, and sacrifice that it took for you to reach this point. You have demonstrated competency, service, leadership, and professionalism. While you still have much to learn, you now have a very solid platform of knowledge and skills. We celebrate this major milestone in your career, but also the next phase of your remarkable journey. Just as Cooper Medical School of Rowan University hearkens to our mission in all that we do, as you commence to the next stage of your education, your journey through residency into the independent practice of medicine, we ask that you retain the core values espoused in our mission as part of your moral compass and internalize them as part of your sacred center. Continue to embrace humanism, diversity and inclusivity, and excellence in patient care. Continue to value scholarly activity, professionalism, collaboration, and mutual respect. Remain committed to service to your community, civic responsibility, patient advocacy, and lifelong learning. As a society, we celebrate our diversity and respect our differences, but must also recognize our commonality and the need to treat everyone with dignity and respect. Many of you are staying in Camden, New Jersey, and will continue to be part of the renaissance of our great city. As our school motto, we have designated Camden is our classroom, Camden is our home. I hope that no matter where your career ultimately brings you, that you will remain strong advocates for your patients and embrace the community in which you practice medicine as part of your personal social mission, just as CMSRU and all of you have embraced the Camden community that our school calls home. It is imperative that you work to advance health for all. Be conscientious, be compassionate, and strive for excellence in all that you do. Bring your A game to the bedside every day. Always remember that the patient comes first. Always do what's right for the patient, even if you're tired, even if others disagree, even if you don't get compensated, even if it's not technically your patient, do what's right. It also means developing a lifelong commitment to read and study so that you know the right thing to do. Science and technology are changing rapidly, and the rate of change for your generation of physicians will be exponential. Don't be afraid to admit to gaps in your knowledge, but always seek to fill them. I urge you to make a strong commitment to lifelong learning. Continue to develop your resilience and emotional intelligence. These are skills that physicians of the 21st century will surely need. And it means doing all of this with compassion and integrity. Don't underestimate the impact you make in this exciting world of science and medicine, whether it is on the level of the individual patient and their families or on a larger population health scale. As you head into residency and then further onward into practice, you will be allowed into people's lives in a way that no one else in society is permitted. You will see the best and the worst of humanity. You will see and participate in amazing things, and you will develop extraordinary abilities. Every patient you see has a new story to tell. Each will inspire you and teach you, but only if you let them. To be effective, your patients have to trust you and have confidence in you, as do your other healthcare colleagues. Medicine is a team sport. Everyone can't be the captain, but everyone should be valued and a team player. As Dr. Laskowski mentioned, medicine is a noble profession. Hospitals and operating rooms are sacred places because miracles happen in them every day. And although day-to-day medical practice is rewarding, it can be challenging, and it could pull you in many different directions, trying to meet requests and demands that occur, often at unexpected times and places. Along the way, you will sometimes feel tired and worn down, but you must resist letting cynicism rob you of the joy in our profession. Seek out those who embody the highest ideals of the healing art, those who are passionate, and hitch your wagon to their star. Strive to make healthcare better, safer, and less costly, but please be sure to take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Unless you know the values that reside in your sacred center and the direction of your moral compass, You will find it difficult to navigate the next path on your journey, the amazing and challenging journey of residency. And even though there will be commonalities, the path will be a little different for each of you. It is not only possible to articulate your goals, what gives you meaning, and how you define your own values, it's important that you do so. I urge you to write them down and reflect on them and refer to them frequently. When you face the inevitable rocky road, such as making a difficult decision, knowing the direction of your moral compass is critically important. Today is a day of many emotions. I know you have a sense of anxiety, but also a sense of incredible excitement. Just as you embody the hopes and dreams of your family, so too, you, as the future leaders in medicine, carry the dreams of my generation of physicians to continue to advance and improve our practice of medicine, to continue to serve those in need, and soon you will have the awesome responsibility of guiding others on the journey. CMSRU Class of 2017, congratulations on all you have accomplished so far. It has been an honor for me and my colleagues to be on the journey with you. Thank you for your contributions to CMSRU and to the Camden community, and best wishes for a long and successful career in medicine. We all expect great things from you. Thank you. Will Dr. Aneta Paryashevsky, President of the Student Government Association, please come to the lectern?
I almost didn't make it through my interview day. You see, Cooper has this part where prospective medical students have to interact with two fake patients who present this moral medical dilemma. And I sometimes have trouble interacting with real people, let alone fake ones. But they had us line up in this long hotel-style corridor, facing the doors, waiting to enter these rooms with two-way mirrors and cameras hanging from the ceiling, which doesn't sound creepy or intimidating at all. But my patient in particular, she came in because she needed a new prescription for her painkillers when she lost hers because an alligator tipped over her canoe. But we were assessed based on whether we introduced ourselves, did we sit down, were we nice, did we not make the patient cry, did we not cry, did we not wet our pants? Essentially all the same things you need to do to pass kindergarten. Fortunately, I did decide to wear dark-colored pants that day. But these are the things that the school used to decide whether we should become doctors. They didn't ask us to do CPR or how we would cure cancer or check to make sure that we had last names that patients could pronounce, because I clearly would have failed that test. Instead, the school simply wanted to see if we were good people. Once we became medical students, the school took this lively group of individuals and tried to polish our rough edges. We learned about professionalism over and over and over again. We learned how to say Dr. Headley's magic words, like, "I wish that hadn't happened to you," instead of "I'm sorry." And "What questions do you have?" instead of "Please leave my office." And we learned we definitely can't be trusted with toasters. Within 2 months of starting medical school, we were seeing our own patients in our free student clinic. And there's a reason it's free. I Googled everything. It's a really good thing that we had real doctors there to supervise us. I think the hardest part was trying to figure out what to do in the time that the antibacterial hand gel that I was using was drying before I could shake the patient's hand. So I'd be standing there awkwardly waving my hands, trying to make small talk. Like, "Hey, how are you doing today? What do you do for a living? Do you come here often?" And then I became a pro at a physical exam in Spanish. Dolor? Dolor aquí? Dolor? Each patient visit, on average, lasted about 2 hours in our clinic. We were far from competent. But yet, strangely, patients still told us that they felt better. They thanked us for listening to them for those 2 hours, for hearing their stories, for being empathetic, and for caring enough to be willing to train in Camden. Now, before starting medical school, I studied architecture, because clearly that's the quickest way to get into medical school. And in architecture and art, there's a concept called negative space. And no, it's not a room where you go and yell mean things at people. No, it's this negative space, it's what you call the blank space around a main object. It's this supposed emptiness that molds and holds a central subject together. You usually don't really notice it until that negative space takes on its own relevance. It's one of those pictures where people say, what do you see first? You see the vase in the middle or the two faces that make up the silhouette of the vase? I mention this because today we earn the title of doctor. I can finally order my unicorn frappuccino at Starbucks and they'll write Dr. Padyashevsky on the cup. The people who meet us from here on out will know us primarily with this doctor label, which is a little scary. Because yesterday, I was just Annetta. And after today, people will refer to me as a doctor. After today, we'll have a Dr. Benitez, and a Dr. Obiora, and a Dr. McBride, and a Dr. Wallace. And we'll probably still just call Dalton Dalton. But even with this fancy new title, we are still the same people. Kind of weird, loud, socially awkward, and a little bit more rebellious than our administration would have liked, and I'm not just talking about Max. We've also demonstrated enduring empathy, unrivaled compassion, and selfless dedication. And these qualities are what make up our personal negative space. When patients look at us, they'll see our white coats and our stethoscopes, and they'll see this image of a doctor. But it's up to us to define that label with these various qualities. How we act and what we say will be more important than how we diagnose and what we prescribed, because the qualities that make us good people will shape us as good doctors. So we'll be starting our residencies within the next month or so, and I hear that the first year is pretty tough. So if you have one of those days where you're feeling like an imposter, you feel like you don't belong as a doctor, or you just don't know enough, think back to when we had our interview day, when we didn't know any medicine, but we knew how to be good people. And we succeeded simply because of that. Because you're awesome, each one of you. So never stop being awesome. And to quote one of my favorite movies, the Lego movie, everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when you're living your dream. And without a doubt, I couldn't have asked for better classmates to have experienced all the craziness over the past 4 years with. So thank you for making me a better person. Thank you to our families for putting up with all of our madness. And thank you to Camden for being our classroom and being our home.
Good evening. I'm Dr. William Coker. I'm an assistant dean for curriculum at Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. At this time, I ask the faculty members and MD candidates to rise and recite the Hippocratic Oath along with me. I'd also like to invite any physicians in attendance in the audience to also rise and renew your oath. The Hippocratic Oath can be found on page 15 of your program. Please recite it with me now. I swear to fulfill, to the best of my ability and judgment, this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply, for the benefit of the sick, all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say, I know not, nor will I fail to call on my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. If it is given to me to save a life, all thanks. But it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes these related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long experience the joy healing those who seek my help. Thank you. Please be seated.
It's time to proceed to the presentation of graduates. Before we begin, I would like to ask all family members to remain in your seats so that you will not obstruct the view of others. A professional photographer will take 3 photos of our students, one as they are hooded, another as they shake hands with me, and a third at the bottom of the stage. The students have been given contact information to have the proofs mailed home. Also, you are welcome to take photos in front of the platform stage at the conclusion of the ceremony. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for, the reading of the names. Each of our graduates will be called individually and will be awarded a hood and diploma cover. The hood is a symbol of entry into an elite community of scholars. The green denotes the profession of medicine. One of the hallmarks of this medical school is our 4 advisory colleges. Each student at CMSRU belongs to an advisory college led by a faculty director and named after a giant in medicine. These colleges play a critical role in the well-being, personal growth and development, and career advising for our students. Our students will receive their diplomas by advisory college and will be hooded by their college director. In 4 cases, a faculty member will hood their child. So we'll ask them also to prepare for this.
Good evening. I'm pleased to present the graduates from the Blackwell Advisory College. Amisha Ahuja. Jefferson Felix Benitez. Grace Dorothy Bundens. Nina Lauren D. Benedictus. Calvin Fu. Kenyetta Givens. Nicole Carolyn Mahawk. Syed Muhammad Mustafa Zaidi. Daisy Chinwe Obiora. Christopher Michael Smith. Ethan Frederick Stortz. Simon Andrew Wallace. Emma Ellen White.
Good evening. We welcome the graduates of the Harvey Cushing Advisory College. Matthew Lewis Chorney. Rebecca Agnes Comito. Andrea Creamer. Michael Kenneth Dalton. Ernest Egu. Edvard Gums. Caroline Rose Kay. Rebecca Ann Lowy. Dipanshi Patel. Cameron Alden Roth. Catherine Rowe Ryman. Kudret Iman Osmani. Steven Stupensky. Nicholas Young. Out of order. Aneta Pariashevsky.
I'm pleased to present the graduates of the Osler Advisory College. Ian Bailey. Mitra Daneshvar. Margaret Antonia de Oliveira. Amanda Crystal Estevez. Got you. Reginald Stephen Hurt, Jr. Jordan Scott Kaplan. Thanks. Christian James Niles. Mary Nouri. Lily Pevandi. Samantha Rachel Pop. Michael A. Renzi, Jr. Eric James Veloso. Sandra Pena.
I'm pleased to present the graduates of the Rush Advisory College. Emily Nicole Bilger. Michael Callahan. Devin Corrigan. Maximilian Cruz. John Fletcher Drogos. Jillian Gansert. Brian Hamadi. Elise Ishino. Stephen McBride. Brian Park. Justin Peterson. Evan Rockless. Hannah Kadi Rogers McQuaid. Samantha So. Alexandra Vranchek. Joshua Weinstock.
Congratulations, class of 2017. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. The audience is please requested to remain in place until the platform party has recessed. Shuttles to the parking lot are available for those who need them, and parking lot R at the back of the green. Golf carts for those who have special needs are available in parking lot Y next to the baseball field or in front of Bowl Hall. Will everyone please rise for the alma mater and remain standing for the recessional? It's in your program books.